Trimming your pots. The first thing you want to do is look at the inside of your pot and kind of take a mental note of the shape, how thick it is in certain places. Our goal is once this is trimmed that I could cut this in half and everything would be the same thickness. Okay, so take mental note. You see you have these little rings to help you get started out to center this. You're going to flip your pot upside down. We want to center the top, bottom. Do we get this? So you want to center this part here, not this part. And how you do that is you can take your nail or a needle tool and you can spin it very slowly and see where it touches. You've got the best seat in the house. It's touching from here to here, so it means I need to just move it a tiny bit that way. And try again.
So you're basically just, there's a towel, it's not mine.
Go ahead.
And so are you just like seeing if your finger is straight?
So I'm holding my finger in one spot. What you can't see down here, pretend I'm down here, okay? Is I'm holding my finger in one spot. I'm not moving it in and out. And I'm spinning the wheel. Now mind you, this is down here. I'm spinning the wheel so that my finger touches going all the way around without moving it in and out.
Okay.
What happens the first few times until I adjust it is it'll touch like a lot right here and then none right here and a lot right, so I know that it's not centered yet. Okay, so once I get it centered, now mind you, all these steps are a zillion times harder than what it's going to look like. So this is just an introduction to trimming, but once you trim, have me come and help you. So then you're going to take some clay. You don't want this to be too wet or too dry. If it's too wet or too dry, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna hold your pot. This is nice consistency. It's not sticking to my fingers, but it's still pretty wet. You're gonna take pieces and you're gonna make little cocktail hot dogs, okay, like so. You're gonna put them on both sides of your pot. This side, got it? And then you take your thumbs and all you do is push down. A lot of times people wanna push in. Oh, let's go back to this. How do you know when your pot is ready to be trimmed? First of all, as soon as your, what? Yeah, no fingerprints. As soon as your pot can be flipped upside down, flip it upside down. In addition to no fingerprints, you want it so the rim is no longer flexible, but isn't totally dry. Okay, so if you can bend your rim, it's not ready. So I'm going to make two more. These pieces of clay do not need to be huge humps. It's about that size right there. Push down. And that should hold my pot on the wheel. Again, much harder than it looks. All right, can somebody find my trimming tool? Is it on my desk, Katie?
Have you ever had a pot fly off?
No?
Pot fly off? Yes, that happens.
Yes, pots will go flying off all the time. I will take that and, yes, good job, thank you.
When they fly off, it ruins people.
Yeah, so remember I told you guys to keep as many bowls as you can because for every 10 bowls, 6 of them are gonna go flying off. You're gonna trim through something, it's hard, okay? So yes, and you will have pots that fly off too. Okay, so once it's secure, the first thing you wanna do is with your wire, or with your trimming tool, is flatten this top out. See my knuckles, how my knuckles are white? I'm holding onto this tool very tight and very steady. I'm not letting it bounce. I'm not letting the clay control the tool. I'm controlling all of it. Once I have the bottom flat, which I'm not there, hold on. I'm just skimming it. I don't want to take away a lot of clay here. Okay. So once the bottom's flat, then I'm going to move to the side. My wheel is going full speed. Your trimming should be like flying off. Okay, so I'm going full speed. Next, I'm going to take the tool. See how these are coming off in nice long ribbons, like so. This is also how you know it's a good consistency for trimming. So trimming. Now let me explain something about how to hold your tool. You don't want to hold your tool like exactly flat against it. Think about when you're shaving, girls and swimmers. We don't shave like this, right? Because it wouldn't work. So it's just at an angle like this. Hey, it helps people remember. Okay, so again, like I'm shaving, I'm holding it this way, not completely flat. So I'm thinking about how big I want this foot, what shape I want this foot, compared to the rest of the pot. You don't want a really cute little bowl and then this big, gigantic foot on the bottom. So think about how those two parts of the pot interact. This part I call the shoulder, and this is usually where it's the thickest from when you threw it. So we usually have to get rid of quite a bit of that. When I'm done, the interior of this bowl and the exterior should completely match. You also don't want to trim any further than halfway down. It's kind of a cheat if you do so. So again, I'm getting rid of this weight here. I like to kind of go back and forth between these two areas. All right, so I have the general shape trimmed out. Next thing we're going to do is with the beak, we call this the beak. With the beak of my tool, I'm going to make a canal to where I want that foot to be. And I'm going to make that canal go down as far as I think it needs to be, depending on how much clay I left down there. Once I have my canal, then I'm going to start carving that out. If the inside of your bowl is round, then this little thing should be a little bit round to mimic the roundness of the inside. Okay? Now, if I don't trim enough and I leave this really thick, it's going to crack and get an S crack. If I trim too much, what will happen? It'll go right through, which will also happen to your bucket.
So how do you know when it's a perfect balance?
Experience, practice, lots of practice. Okay, so I'm just cleaning this up. I'm trying to get a 90-degree angle in here. My goal is always to get rid of as much weight as possible because I want my pots to not be bottom heavy. I want them to be light. So I'm just going to try to push this a little bit further. Sometimes I push it too far. Okay, and then the finishing touches, you take a damp sponge, because again, we don't want any sharp edges. So we're going to take a damp sponge and just go over that, like so. Then I'm going to remove it from the wheel. And at this point, you can pick it up and see how you did. I definitely could have taken more off right here. It's a little bottom heavy. So at that point, I could like start the whole process over again. Put it back on, recenter it, and take some more off. Questions? Questions? Okay, save bowls. As soon as you have bowls that are dry enough to flip over, make sure you flip them over. Little tip, if you threw bowls last time and you know you're coming to open studio, you might want to put them in front of the fan for a little while, set them out so they can start drying. I think the biggest challenge for people in this class is you're only here 85 minutes every other day, so it's kind of hard to judge the dryness. A lot of times what people will do is as soon as they come in, they'll put their bowls, flip them upside down, put them in front of the fan, and then maybe in a half an hour, 40 minutes, they might be ready, depending to trim. Okay, questions? All right, let's go.